Hello, I am Carl Jung, the founder of analytical psychology and a lifelong explorer of the human mind and its depths. Unlike my esteemed colleague Sigmund Freud, who viewed the psyche through the lens of instinctual drives, divided into the id, ego, and superego, I ventured further into the unconscious, mapping out the vast terrain of the collective unconscious archetypes and individuation. Freud's model, while insightful, focuses primarily on internal conflicts. Yet in this modern era, with the rise of mass media, propaganda, and digital information warfare, we must understand that the battle is not just within, but also external, shaping our very perception of reality. Today, I will explore how these forces operate in the digital age and how we can cultivate the self-awareness necessary to navigate them with wisdom. Freud's id, ego, and superego, and my expansion. Freud proposed that human behavior is a struggle between the id, instinctual desires, the ego, rational mediator, and the superego, moral conscience. While this model explains much about internal conflict, it fails to account for the deep-seated narratives embedded in our psyche by collective experience, what I termed the collective unconscious. The id is not merely an internal drive, but a primal force that is easily exploited by external entities. The ego, meant to balance reality, can be fractured by misinformation, leading to mass delusion. The superego, instead of serving as an ethical guide, can be manipulated through moral imperatives crafted by unseen hands. The modern information war thrives on these distortions, the information war and the exploitation of the psyche. In today's world, the internet has become a playground for forces that manipulate the psyche on an unprecedented scale. Let us explore how the psyche is being weaponized against the individual. The id exploiting primal fear and desire. The id craves immediate satisfaction, whether through pleasure or avoidance of pain. Social media, political propaganda, and sensationalist news operate on this principle, bombarding individuals with fear-based content, outrage cycles, and desires for belonging. The primal need for security is hijacked, making individuals susceptible to messages that amplify threats, real or imagined, leading to tribalism, scapegoating, and division. The ego, the fractured mediator. Ideally, the ego balances instinct with reality, but in the digital age, reality itself is under siege. Algorithms create echo chambers, reinforcing pre-existing biases, preventing individuals from truly mediating between competing viewpoints. When the ego is compromised, it loses its ability to critically assess information. People become passive recipients of narratives designed to steer them toward predetermined conclusions. The superego, manufactured morality. The superego provides moral direction, but in an era of mass influence, morality itself is engineered. Political ideologies, religious sentiments, and social justice movements are all susceptible to manipulation, not because they lack merit, but because they can be hijacked to serve an agenda. This leads to moral absolutism, where individuals see themselves as righteous warriors for a cause, regardless of whether the cause is based on truth or fabrication. Individuation, the path to psychological sovereignty. To resist the information war, we must undergo individuation, the process of integrating all aspects of the self to achieve psychological wholeness. Here's how. Cultivate awareness of the unconscious. Recognize that much of what you believe is shaped by forces beyond your awareness. Observe your reactions. Are they driven by instinct, by conditioning, or by conscious thought? Engage in shadow work. Your shadow is the part of you that remains unexamined, often projected onto others. When you demonize an opposing view without consideration, you are likely projecting your own unacknowledged fears. Engage in self-reflection before reacting. Develop a strong inner compass. Instead of allowing external forces to dictate morality, cultivate your own principles. What is true, what is just, and what aligns with your higher self. Step outside the collective hysteria. The greatest threat to free thought is mass conformity. Avoid being swept away by collective emotions, whether fear, outrage, or blind allegiance. True independence comes from observing without immediately reacting. Seek depth, not noise. Instead of mindlessly consuming information, seek wisdom. Read deeply, explore various perspectives, and embrace complexity rather than simplistic narratives. Conclusion: the battle for the psyche. We are engaged in a great psychological struggle, not just between nations but within each individual. Will you remain a passive participant, your psyche hijacked by forces that exploit your primal instincts? Or will you embark on the journey of individuation, breaking free from manipulation to become a sovereign thinker? The choice is yours. Those who master their own unconscious cannot be controlled. Those who understand the forces shaping their thoughts will not be deceived. And those who pursue self-knowledge will remain free, no matter the chaos that surrounds them.